Welcome to another mega exciting Kingscrusher Banter blitz on chess 24. I'm hoping the screen's perfect this time from top left to bottom right. Let me know. I think the names are there and everything. Let's go! Hi Ryan, let's go. Ryan Menezes, welcome to another mega exciting.
I've got to turn off this audio.
Okay, echo turned off. Echo turned off. Caro-Kann. Let's play. Let's see the main line for bets. Knight c3. Although that's an inaccuracy. Knight d2 is actually more accurate. I should know that because g6. But anyway, it's another story. Okay, that's h4, h5. This. So my plan is to trade off the light square bishop. It's pretty standard plan here. I want to trade off this light square bishop, and black's position, usually the free ranks, all the pieces are occupying the free ranks in the Caro-Kann, but it's pretty solid. It's a tough nut to crack, the Caro-Kann. Whoa, whoa, oh, this is naughty. I want the queens on. Let me have the queens on. Oh, I'm going to stop that. Although it's a concession, I'm pinned there. That's a pinned pawn. You can go knight d5 later. Okay, that's castle. It's a trade-off decision. c4. I didn't want to move my queen. I didn't know if there was too many places. I can't do knight e4 with that c4 pawn. That one might give me some f-file play. It seems tempting to take here, but maybe, you know, knight e5. I know I've got pressure on. It's another trade-off. I've got pressure on f7 here. On bishop takes g3, f takes, knight e5. I'm hitting f7, and I think there's some dynamic, you know, pressure there going on. He's not accepting that. I'm even moving my rook off the f file now, which will make that look like a free pawn actually, and it's hitting g3. I'm wondering now, that is probably a good idea, just to take that guy off. Yeah, although knight e5 is protecting g3. Okay. Okay. Yes. Okay. h5 is vulnerable here. Yes. What do I do? What do I do? Okay. Let's point this bishop there. I'm not entirely sure. I'm trying to keep a bind on the e5 square. Yes, tricky. Ooh, this seems I'm in trouble in this very first game today. Well, that knight g4. Unless I can play rook h4 and sneakily double rooks and make my opponent punish my opponent for opening up the h file. Usually in Caro-Kann, sometimes black castles queenside. Actually, the queen's over here, so maybe I should take some encouragement that the queen's over here quite some way from the king. Mind you, I'm getting pushed back for the moment. Anytime f5 there's a weakened e6 pawn, I want to look rook e1. That's a backward pawn to try and put pressure on. Okay, let's do this for the moment. It adds some fragility to the black pieces, I would hope. Maybe rook e4. I'm going to have crazy Morozevich rooks at this rate if all the rooks go artificially to this side of the board. Morozevich, some of Morozevich's games, has had crazy rooks as a characteristic, I noticed. Okay. I remember the likes of Morozevich and others, Shirov, playing in the Lloydsbat Masters many years back. That was an excellent tournament. You saw a lot of the GMs like wipe the floor with other GMs basically. Queen c2, Queen c2. I'm in a nasty pin as well, and King h1 loses my queen to knight f2. This is a very naughty position. Knight e5 I can just about play, I think. I think, because my rook's supporting e5. I'm about to fall apart here at the seams, aren't I? No, let's think positively. Think positively. Okay, I'm challenging that knight. Let's see. I have to play rook takes e5. I wonder queen e3 and rook h6 here, just as an evil hack attack plan. Queen e3, rook h6. If knight d7, I do get Milosevic rooks with rook e to h5. I will get Milosevic rooks. Oh blimey, this is happening. This is happening. This is real. Rook h6. Also, there's bishops waiting to pounce with d5 on this diagonal. Yes, I'm really going to sack the rook. Mind you, there's knight g4 kind of forking everything on rook h6. Knight g4 forks everything. Okay. If I just play rook g5, I've got the crazy rooks. I am protecting g3 even more. d5 for bishop f6 looks juicy. When I say juicy, I mean juicy as in something very, very juicy. Juicy plums, juicy strawberries, very, very juicy. Okay, I can threaten mate. I can leave my queen hanging outrageously and threaten a mate on h8. I've got the crazy Milosevic rooks, guys. I've got the crazy Milosevic rooks. I love Milosevic. I love Shirov. They both came and wiped the floor with all us British GMs. Not me, a British CM. No, but they wiped the floor with the British GMs when they came Lloyds Bat Masters around 1990. Yeah, it's incredible stuff. But Milosevic, yeah, are wonderful games. Real chess. Real chess. Going for the king. None of this positional play. Just mate on h8. Nigel Short's got the best quotation. Checkmate ends the game. Forget about pawn structure. Checkmate ends the game. You know, I'm going to mate on h8 here. Okay. Yeah, this is me when I'm not hyper. Yeah, okay, I'm not hyper. Okay, I'm going to win the queen. I'm going to win that queen. Rook g7. I'm going to win that queen. Thanks, Ryan. Great game. Thank you. A lot of fun. Okay, I'm sure you're winning. Okay, let's go on to the next challenge. Colin, you're the next challenger, Colin. Okay, what do you want me to play, Colin? If you're in chat, I can play whatever you want. E4. I'll say E4. Actually, I should say that. If you want me to choose a certain opening, just say in the chat before your challenge. Now, didn't Kasparov play the Scotch game recently out in Blitz? So it's good enough for Kasparov. It's good enough for me. How does it go? It'll be good to know some theory, though, occasionally, of the Scotch game. Before playing it. This is knight can go to g3, can't it? I got a pin here. I think there is one trap that exists, only one trap in the Scotch game, but I've forgotten how it goes. No, okay, but yeah, it's full of venom, surely. This position or not. Alright, let's see. Okay. F4. This looks very right for F4. When I see this vacuum, I'm getting excited. These vacuumous weaknesses around the king. I'm getting very, very excited. And could be an issue later. No counterpart for the bishop. But my opponent is winning a pawn. Yes. Do I care about the pawn? Not sure. I'm not sure here. We've got another position where there's dynamic play for the pawn, actually. A bit like the first game. I'm sorry to be so sloppy with my pawns, but I don't know. There's a bit of pressure here. Queen f6, rook e1. d5, f3. The pin knight's not going anywhere. Because there's the disconnections. All these guys are saying we can't say hello to each other. We're all sort of jumbled on the first rank here over here. Spectator pieces. Spectator pieces over here. What's this rook on A8? It's saying I haven't got into this game yet. I haven't even moved yet, and the king's getting attacked. Poor rook on A8. The bishop's miserable as well here at the moment, saying oh, I'm still blocked in by this pawn over here. Okay, so is F4 on the cards? F4 or H4 or the pin? I will try and inflect the pin. The pin is mightier than the sword, as the famous expression goes. Pin and win is another. Pin and win. It's not really like an absolute pin. It's just a relative pin on that rook. I mean, knight takes g3, f takes, rook takes, queen takes is mating for queen h7. Okay. Whoa. Okay, I'm going to open up the wrath of the rooks sitting on their original squares. Whoa. Zwiesenzug, as they say. Zwiesenzug, not an ordinary recapture. An intermediary move with queen h7 to follow. Queen h7 to follow. Thanks, Colin. Thanks. Okay. Let's go. Oh, we got a high rated here, 2250. A high rated with the name of Alekhine. I should be worried. Alexander Alekhine had a real passion for chess because it was one of Kasparov's favorite world champions. Kasparov as a kid apparently went through many Alekhine games. As well as, by the way, Kasparov apparently solved a lot of compositions, not just ordinary puzzles, but actual compositions to improve his creativity. I'm trying to play this, you remember this Tau game recently with a6, queen a5? Let's try and simulate that with the queen sack for 2 pieces. I'm going to try and simulate the Tau repertoire here. So it was a6 and queen a5. As though knight d5 is a trap for knight e7. I hope some of you have seen that game. Well, you know, knight e5 here is on c4. I'm not worried about f4 because of knight g4. I could be getting some counterplay here with h5, h4 as well, knight h7. Some dark square play, or I could be getting some queenside play. So trying to drum up some counterplay. I think there's nothing worse in chess than not having too much counterplay. Got to try and avoid that situation. Counterplay. Counterplay. Okay. h5, h4, knight e2, knight h3. Yeah, he's locking me down there. Is he locking down h4? I wonder. h4, knight e2. This fawn pawn might be useful. Or should I just play it immediately? Should I play on this side of the board? Should I cause an eruption on this side of the board? Or in the center? Maybe here. I'm going to try and open up things on this side and this side and this side. But h3 doesn't open up things. It slightly weakens f3. But should he have played h3? Right, I'm going to play h3 now. Because I'm wondering about this bishop. Actually, if I play b5, I'm trying to distract this bishop away from f3 in this position. Let's open up things everywhere. So ed, the king's still in the center. It's miles away from castling. So knight takes ed, rook e8. We have a very dynamic looking, exciting position. I like positions which look exciting. Often they are. So rook takes b5 and knight f3 is on the cards. Let's distract this bishop away from f3. There's also rook b2, queen takes nearly. What is that, knight c4? Yes. Okay, there's knight takes e4 minimum here. I haven't got my dark square bishop anymore. I'm hallucinating I've got my dark square bishop. Knight e4 might be interesting. Queen c2, bit of calculation needed. I got knight e4 for a moment. This looks a very promising position. Haven't really sacrificed anything just yet. Actually, there's rook a5. Queen c. I've just noticed rook a5 gains a tempo because rook takes his check there. So there's no time to pick up e5. That's a valuable tempo gain. On queen c2, I play rook a5. I've just realised. Because I've got two pieces hanging here. That's a problem to solve. If I move my knight, it does take the rook. But if the queen steps off, it's kind of a weakness of the last move. It's controlling, believe it or not, a5. So I think I do get to... Oh, he's protected the rook. That's how it works. I was looking forward to that. Oh, there's queen b6 anyway. It's still... There's queen b6 at minimum. F takes rook b2 for queen b4. That surely... Oh no, he can just take there. What am I doing? What am I doing? He can just take on b5. c4 for queen f2. This is getting crazy. This is crazy stuff. There's c4 for queen f2, or there's rook b2. Rook b2 seems a lot of fun, actually. A rook on the 7th is usually a good sign if you can get a rook on the 7th. A lot of Fischer games, he got a rook to the 7th when he was winning. I noticed around 1970, around his Fischer's peak. Look at his games where he got a rook to the 7th. Very interesting. But anyway, the king's still in the centre here. This is quite a rare thing for the king. It's still in the centre. There's a check here. Knight d2 check. For knight b3 takes there. Actually, knight d2 check for queen e4. There's no bishop f3. Does he go to g1? There's still queen e4. This, to me, it looks crushing. This, because there's not queen g2 just yet. I'm going to blunder the rook, aren't I, at this rate? I'm going to blunder the rook. Oh, let's not blunder the rook. I'm going to take it here. Play the check for knight d6. Nice blockade, at the very least. My queen, I suspect my queen's subject to harassment soon. I got a nice clock advantage building up. Right, there's queen e4 for queen g2. I don't want to lose the rook. Particularly. What about just queen c3? Let's try and play this a bit calmly. I don't think this is working. Queen g... I don't think it's working just yet. Queen b3. There's rook a3. I think there might be rook c2 there. Okay, what about just this queen backing off? Just to hold the rook without rook a3. I can play that. Hold on a sec. Rook a3, there's queen c2. This must be good. Surely. I challenge that. So rook a3, there's bishop d3 check. And then queen takes c2. This is looking good. Going for the mate. check and then check. Let's pick up the rook. Rook b2. Well, it's knight d2. Okay, that was a tense one, but the king was in the center too long. I enjoyed it. I mean, I like the King's Engine games because it's like an honor to play the King's Engine, because you're following in the greats of like Kasparov and Fischer that used to play the King's Engine defense, even if it's not like, pardon me, even if it's, hang on, challenges, not like super trendy by Super Gems. There's a kind of culture to playing the King's. It's iconic. I think it's like, you can say the King's Engine defense is an iconic game. Thanks, Anakin, great game. No, it wasn't pathetic. I have torn apart GM's even blitz in King's Engines. Really, I have. I'm not just a bunny. I'm not total bunny. Don't worry about it. Okay, I mean, sometimes I'm a total bunny. I mean, that's not to say that a lot of the time I'm a total bunny, but sometimes I can play a good game. Occasionally, it depends on the amount of coffee I've had and stuff. I think blitz is a lot about avoiding and calculating. You know, if you can calculate the basic forcing moves in blitz, you go a long way. I think I found a lot of missed opportunities, even against IMs and GMs. A lot of missed opportunities are often just like forcing moves, not like I'm sacking that pawn. That pawn's going. I want this at h-file. I mean, a lot of stuff is about forcing moves. I used to recommend something which I might even go back to, because it was an encouragement. I called it the docking computer. By that I don't mean cheating with a computer. I mean a metaphorical sort of, when you have these positions where it's kind of probably forcing moves that would win. It's like if you can just try and get encouragement to look at the forcing moves, then you're going to be doing kind of well. Now here this does look pretty bad actually. Am I getting done over here as usual? This looks bad. This is a 3-minute game. Someone's dared challenge me at 3 minutes. Generally I'm quicker the faster the time limit, but okay, let's see. So Pablo is pretty quick at the moment, but is he worried about h6? The trouble with 3 minute, I have found the commentary is a little less shallow. It's a little less shallow because, but anyway, you can sometimes get fun games from 3 minute, of course. So knight g3, and I don't know, h5, sorry, h5 h6. So there's knight e5 to c4. Let's put that form pawn there and then play for bishop d4 again. Unless he's got a sack coming up. Should I be worried? Should he be worried about bishop b6 trapping his queen at some point or something like that? I can afford to do. Oh, can I? Can I? Okay, let's take the rooks off. I'm not hugely material down. I am slightly concerned. There's no infiltration points at the moment. 1 minute 30 each. There's no infiltration points. I've got to stand guard on the c file. b4's attacked here. e5. Can I afford to dislodge that knight? It's very annoying. e4 is protected by the knight on g3. Knight c4, maybe I pin that knight. Queen c2 doesn't lose the queen, but queen c1 doesn't lose the queen. I'm looking at knight e3 check. Bishop g7 as a standby for the moment. It just needs the queen to come to g7 instead. How is that going to happen? It's not happening. I could just take off on a, leave my pawn pawn alone. Hey teacher, leave those pawn pawns alone. Okay, so queen e3 or queen d3. Maybe to b5. Ooh, we're getting tense on the clock here. Tense on the clock. Not sure what I'm doing. I want to get to the 7th. He's let me get to the 7th at the cost of too much. I got to reinforce e4. Can I break open a line? Finally, I might have a threat. No, I haven't got a threat. I thought I might have. Knight e5, queen d8 is mate. Can I do this? Can I do queen d5? How's this ending? Knight f6, knight g5. I was going to get my form pawn. Let's march this. Ooh, there's a lot about the clock on the 3-minute chess. That's a lot about the clock. You put me under great pressure there. Congratulations. Great pressure. Another 3-minute. You guys are into 3-minute today. Is this 3-minute Sunday or something? Okay. Albin counter gambit. Nope. Okay. Anti-London system. It's early queen b6 stuff without bishop f5. I don't know if this is called anti-London system, but I think bishop f5 is supposed to give something for black. This is okay, I think. But the line is bishop f5, queen c1. Okay, so I'm closing in my own bishop here. Whoa! Structure. He's undoubled my pawns. There's a famous Capablanca game in this line which actually set, I think, a very important positional precedent for having the double pawns. It's interesting, actually. Capablanca and Botvinnik, you might not think of them as great dynamic players, but they often accepted in a sort of dynamic fashion wrecked pawn structures on occasion. They knew exactly what they were doing with them and the dynamics. But you'd think they're a little bit, you know, on the so-called very, very solid style, but they knew when to have double pawns, when they, when the double pawns were really like significant or not. Can I have bishop b3? I'm not sure what this does in particular. Can I have a knight on e4 now? That gives me the d5 square. Can I lock down the bishop and put my king? Maybe rook a2 actually. Just shut this down and play rook a2. There's also bishop c2 is considered. Bishop d3. Bishop c2. Bishop d3. Now can I bring my king somewhere? Let's hold the 7th for a moment and bring my king. Actually, where is my king going? Not sure. Can it go over here? Nope. Try and visit b3. I'm not going to get mated, am I? He's not letting me visit b3. Oh, come on. Come on, take the pawn, let me visit b3. No! Okay, don't let me visit b3. Oh, no! He went into the draw! Ah! Okay, well played, well played. Ah! Okay, excellent. It was difficult. It was difficult. It's like I thought I was going to get mated if my king went to b4. I'm close to getting mated there if my king ventures too much. Hi, Luke. Okay. Is Luke ready? Okay. Maybe Sicilian. C3 Sicilian. So this is the kind of Alapin transposition. Isolate queen's pawn. Nope, doesn't want to isolate queen's pawn. I think I'll keep that. I'm not going to sack a pawn just yet. Although I'm sacking a pawn here, funny enough. Okay. Bishop b6. And then we have maybe knight b4 coming later. Knight b4 to d3. Knight or knight back. Whoa, okay, what am I doing here? Yeah, this is a bit of pressure for sure. Bit of pressure. I can feel the pressure on b7. Can play bishop f4. I think I'm just going to end up sacking this pawn out of desperation now, because I don't know what to do about this. Because rook b8 bishop f4, I want to get some piece play going, so I'm going to sack my b pawn just for a bit of piece play. Nebulous compensation for the pawn. Nebulous, non-existent. Queen b4. Queen b4 though. Maybe there's something. Rook. No, you can't play that. No, there's e5. I actually have supported e5. Hang on. There might be some method to the madness here. Bishop f4 e5. Oh, there's rook d4 there. I would need to protect the queen if I was going to do e5. What about queen c5? Am I losing material with queen c5? I wonder, e5 is then possible without rook d4, but also that means knight g4 or bishop g4. Knight g. Yeah, I think e5 is liberating a bit. Does it matter about the double? That bishop's hanging, which means I can take the knight and then take the bishop. I can actually take the knight here and then take the bishop. I guess he's got bishop e3. Okay, that's surely, yeah, got bishop e3. Queen b4. Okay, decisions. Queen b4. Oh no, I'm stuck. Okay, I better try try queen b4 and hope for the best. The bishop's almost hanging. This has gone a bit wild, this game. Am I getting rook b2? It's going to evict the queen. Oh, the bishop's hanging. My queen's nearly trapped. Oh, I'm losing a piece. I end up losing a piece now. This is pretty tragic. Oh. Oh. I thought I was winning a piece earlier. Alright, let's see. Let's try and fight this on for a bit. This has got just totally out of control, this game. Keep this pawn for a moment. A3 and rook b2 plan comes to mind. Just to try and put pressure on f2. Let's stop rook g4. Oh, it might be e5 if he's not careful. Maybe there's rook d6. No, queen d6, queen check, queen g6. Maybe e5 is friend. Shush. Top secret. I'm hoping to cause some issues. Oh, that would weaken too much. He's not going to go into a pin here, is he? Bishop a4. Surely that would offer me something. Or not. Rook b2. Rook a5. Trying to put pressure on with rook a8. Oh, this looks too dangerous. Is that bishop hanging? Queen of Fate, maybe. There is that. Oh. I'm on the last legs. Form pawn to the rescue or not? King f6. Oh, you had me, of course. That was my worst. I was done over. I was okay. I was done over. I admit, I was done over like a kipper. I thought I was winning a piece. I ended up losing a piece. That's the tragedy of chess. I thought I was losing. Anyway, thought I was winning, then I was losing. Okay. I apologise. I'm sorry. As you see, I'm lost control. I lost control. So Albin countergamut. It was torture, that game. No, it wasn't a good game. Comments. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Okay, clearly h5 is the best move here for winning h-pawn, h-file attack. Except it does weaken the diagonal a bit if I play g6. Just let me get away with having that pawn there. Okay. Alright, I've got bishop h3 on the cards. Crude but dangerous, I think, when there's pieces around one's king. Takes with a g pawn, get the g file. G file. I could take that. Well, it seems to lose some steam from my attack. What is it? Bishop g4 next? Maybe it takes... Okay, I'll take that off and just play king g7. So it's to protect f6 against taking a rook takes f6. This rook f4 business is a bit of a worry, but no, I think white. I mean that e3 pawn is vulnerable. Oh no, f6 is vulnerable again. Swings and roundabouts again. Take g3, takes f6. Pass pawn. I thought he was going to play rook d6, so I've got a pass pawn here to be pushed. Pass pawns are meant to be pushed. Right. Actually, okay, so what's the plan? I'm going to swap this pawn for this pawn. I'll have to try and win with these two pawns. Maybe. Oh, I got a different plan. I can try and get my king to get this pawn, I think. Hang on. Is this winning? I don't know if this is winning anymore. Hang on. Okay, surely the extra pawn can be used as tempo gainer or loser. Tempo loser. I control the tempo for a Zugzwang, I hope. So if I need a spare tempo, I'll use this guy. Okay, thanks. Okay. Fenneman. Hi, Fenneman. Let's try King's Gambit territory. There's a bit of spice, exciting stuff. Okay, we're into Vienna game territory instead. I'm tempted just to do this because it would weaken the f5 square. If I take, I'm actually strengthening d5 and f5. I mean, it swings and roundabouts again, but I often let my opponent take just to weaken these squares. If I put a pawn on there, then I can't put a knight there later. So I'm keeping that square reserved. I don't want to play pawn up necessarily. Bishop e3 to g1. Actually, I can threaten knight f7. Knight f7 is actually a threat here. I'm going to play that. I don't think there's a discovered check. Is there? Or is bishop h4? I just take it. Actually, I could play bishop takes, then knight f7 to win the exchange. Maybe that's even better. It is forcing. It is pretty forcing. I mean, mate, yeah. I'm toss up between winning a pawn and losing my lovely light square bishop and winning the exchange here. If that is winning the exchange, mind you, bishop h4. It's got bishop h4. I've got knight takes d6. I can win a pawn, so it still just ends up winning a pawn after bishop h4. Okay, I'll win the exchange here then. I can actually pin that. No, I can't pin that knight. Hallucinating that my queen's on h5. Okay, f5. Trying to weaken d5 here. Right, I can weaken d5. I wonder about queen f2. Actually, that hits a7 as well. Is this f file? I'll just connect my rooks for a moment. Maybe c4, b4, b5, queen a5. That sounds good. Looks good. Sounds good. c4. Oh, what about just queen a5 then? Actually, that threatens mate. And this, I've forked two pawns. So I think that's tricky for black this position. So rook f7, queen a7. Okay, so queen a8, queen b7. What's that on chat? How dare you? How dare you calling me a coffee house style? No, I am. You know, John Nunn though called himself a coffee house player, and I really like John Nunn's games. Coincidentally, I like coffee house play. It's really fun. I'm a coffee house player. In fact, I think the cafes should all facilitate chess all around the world. It all started with Café de la Régence, yeah, where the top French players did actually meet up in a coffee shop, yeah. And Morphin stuff. I think he played brilliant games just to get his name known, you know, deliberately, you know. Well, all the top French players and stuff. Café de la Régence. I mean, that's where the expression might have come from. Correct me if I'm wrong. Where does the expression coffee house player come from? Does anyone know on chat? But it could, you know, it's historically there has been a connection between cafes and chess. Where I live in North London, Barnet. Yes, out in the sticks of London, not in the centre. Okay, so thank you, Fenneman. So here we go. Jörg Gutzmann. I'm probably pronouncing that terribly. Sorry for the butchering of pronunciation. Should we try a King's Indian defense again, just for fun? So, now with bishop e2 and this setup, white is signaling a solid personality is requested from the white pieces. Solid. I'm going to stronghold. What am I trying to say? Strong grip on e4. There's been a few Fischer games with a strong grip on e4 as a basis for an attack. Well, a few other games as well. If you can strong point e4 and then do something with this knight, like here. This is a standard Fischer plan I've seen. Knight to g5. Perhaps I could have waited for d5 to cover this plan up, or b5. Knight d7 to f8 to h7 to g5. Queen d7 bishop h3 is the top secret plan. Is this a 3-minute game? Top secret plan. Don't tell anyone. It's top secret. I'm going to trap my bishop with e4. My bishop's going to get trapped. E4 is going to trap my bishop. No. No, I can't afford that bishop trapped. So there's only one move. I have to give up b7. I've only got like 2 minutes to think about this. Why not bishop d7 for queen c8? Bishop d7 for queen c8, for crying out loud. Or should I sack a knight instead? Knight h5 looks terrible. I want bishop f5 for knight d7. Knight d7 for knight e5. I don't think there's an e6. I want knight d7. Let me just take that. What does I play? Knight d7. Decisions. I think knight d7, because I've got this other knight controlling f6 as well. I want to show this is a bit weak, this e5 pawn, if I can. I think any knight f6, there's bishop f6, protecting the rook. Maybe also now queen e8. It's a good pin, sort of. Queen e6 runs into knight c5. So maybe this, asking that knight to go somewhere. Knight c5, b6 loses the rook. Rook b7 doesn't lose too much, just the pawn. Okay, let's move. What to move? Okay. Over here. Bishop d4 would be a good little one. Trying to pin that queen. Play this anyway. Queen a3. It's getting close on the clock. How good is my internet connection? I hope it's okay. Had a BT engineer fix a few issues recently, thank the Lord. Is queen b2 any good? Is he getting to my back row? My back row's feeling vulnerable, I've got to say. Also, my pawn structure is not feeling great either. Am I losing this rook? There's bishop f6. Thank the Lord. Oh, I could have taken the queen. Whoa! Thank you, BT Internet, for giving me a good connection. Oh, you're testing me on the 3-minute games today, guys. I see. You're trying to find weaknesses in me. Yeah, you're trying to find my weaknesses. Okay, another 3-minute game lined up. Okay. Let's see. I was pretty fortunate, you know, that knight f6 wasn't just winning the rook actually on d8. There's some fortunate little moments in these 3-minute games, which I gotta say, you gotta like see virtually instantly this stuff. I'll try and survive sometimes, just think. Now there's a backward pawn to torture on the c file. So this is for all those positional players on Chess24. Look, I can play against backward pawns just like GMs can. Yeah, anything GMs can do, I can do. Yeah, I can torture the c pawn, play positionally. Yes, it's not about crushing the king in this game. See that? Outpost? Yes, I know what a knight outpost is. dear, oh dear. I'm going to double my rooks and play knight a5. I'm going to make sure my back row's sorted. Maybe queen. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Knight a5. Sort out this just in case. There's also this poor a pawn by itself as well. There's not just a backward pawn, there's an isolated pawn here. Aha. So I can take and play rook c4 when he's not looking. Taking rook c4. Then it'll be rook d4. Oh, there's just rook c3. Let's sort of get a pair of rooks off for rook c7, just to calm things down. Got my king over to support a6, I think, to create a passed b pawn. Rock solid over here. Alright, can I inflict this? Yes, I can immediately. Get my passed b pawn. So b5, king b6. That's the next plan. King c5, b5. Okay, I've got to be concerned about this f7. My king can herd this pawn. Okay, we're down to e6 now. So b4 on the way. But king b5. Herding this pawn down the boards. Okay, okay, thanks. Thanks, Moby. It's a 5-minute game. 5-minute game. And I'll play this as sitting defense. Oh, what is it with these bishop b5 lines? Haha. I think I've seen the Kasparov game with d5 and knight e4 at some point when he had to play against this. It might not be in this position, but it rings a bell somewhere. I can again isolate white's c pawn on knight c3 and a pawn. If knight c3, I'm just going to take in a similar plan to what we've just seen. We got a similar structure, guys, to the previous game. What is this? This is the Sunday for backward c pawn Sunday. Backward c pawn Sunday. I can play this position. I don't need a kingside attack. I have great versatility, adaptation. I can play this position. Backward c pawn Sunday. Knight a5. Similar plan. I'm going to double the rooks. Make sure I don't get run over on the king side with f5. Oh, no, 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 no. You're creating too many weaknesses. Okay, I'm going to step aside and hijack the G file at the right time. Well, that's the plan anyway, unless I get mated. So, knight c4. Alright, yes, it's getting a little bit scary over here, I must admit. So maybe not all the resources on c3, because my king might need some help over here. Ah, should I play bishop g... hang on. I was thinking about bishop g5. Can I offer a take back? I have to find out about that. I was thinking about bishop g5 and I suddenly realised, hold on a sec. That bishop, I can just take the bishop. No, but I regretted f6. I mean, I thought f6 I was in trouble there. I mean, maybe I'm still in trouble. This is very dangerous, this position. I mean, it looks pretty dangerous. If I drag that rook away from the f file for a moment. Take some rook f7 is dangerous. What do I have there? What have I got there? Maybe rook g7. Because takes rook f7 is forking my queen and h7. So I'm going to play... I think I should stay cautious with the rooks coming like this. I'm threatening mate. Hang on, rook takes. I have to play king takes now. This is getting awkward. This is e8. Oh man, what have I done? Hang on, is this winning for white? Queen g5, king f7, queen f6, king e8. Oh, I have to calculate this. Well, check. King here, queen f6, king e8. This is getting silly. Contortions because of e8. I'm wondering if I'm getting mated or not. This position, I'm hoping I'm not mated there. It looks pretty scary. It's not exactly what I had in mind. After winning the bishop to be on the verge of getting mated, it's not exactly what I had in mind, I've got to say. Okay, I was hoping this position is not mate in any way, and queen f8 is not working. There's no queen g6. There's nothing. The knight's not yet a killer knight. Okay, yeah. Oh, I don't know what was going on there for after a while. Yeah, thanks for the game. That was brilliant. Great fun. Okay, Michael Tal. Okay, so here we go, Michael Tal. You want revenge, don't you, from last week? You want your revenge, do you? I'm going to be like Kasparov. No revenge. I'm just going to try and beat you all the time, every time. Just kidding. I'm sure a lot of you are going to get revenge. Just I'm going to try and make it hard. Okay. Queen c1. Yeah. If king h7, e5. Look, he put this pawn out there for me to sack my bishop for. What can I do? I can't resist this stuff. I just can't resist. I mean, come on, Knight G5. Sorry, I'm sounding like my evil twin brother. That's Yarn, CM Yarn, who might be a GM in disguise. I'm sounding like evil Yarn. I'm sorry. Ever since watching that broadcast, I've been very bad. I've been naughty. I've been naughtier than usual in my commentary. I'm so sorry. Sorry. Yeah, Knight G5 and Knight H5 might be. I'm going to have to play Evil Yarn, CM Yarn in a dual bullets sometime. Let's see how he fares. You know Radio Yarn? Okay, if you're listening, Radio Yarn, bring it on for bullet. Let's bring it on for bullet sometime, yeah? Okay, E takes F5 for Knight takes F5, or Queen G6 is strong. Just Knight F5 looks pretty strong. It's pretty dismantling because Queen takes G4, Queen G6 is also seemingly mating. This is pretty dismantling. There's no pawns around the opponent's king. I think that's one of the things about Mikhail Tal games. He just seems to shred the opponent's pawns around the king a lot. So Queen, okay, so Queen G6. Right, it's not yet over. There's Queen D5 for picking up this knight as well. Actually, coincidentally, this knight. Oh, that looks pretty solid actually. For a moment, I'll play for maybe F4 or takes. There's Queen E6 for the knight. But if I played F4 here, is there Queen B6 check? Right, Queen G6. Can I switch a rook in or not? Queen H6, Rook E6. So for Rook G6, Queen H7. Well, I'm just going to double rooks first. I think it makes more sense to double rooks first. There's a lot of pressure here. I think one of the things I've noticed, I've been video annotating a lot of Mikhail Tal games recently. He makes it very, very difficult for the opponent. I think I might have mentioned this last week. So he might not have played objectively the best moves, but he's certainly, in some games, I mean, not just difficult, it was like relentless pressure on opponents. Absolutely relentless until they basically cracked. And I don't think it matters if we can find holes in Tal's games with computers or not. It doesn't really matter, because if you had to play Tal, you were going to be under enormous pressure, yeah, and easy to crack. Now, I'm not entirely convinced about winning the bishop here. What about just Queen H5? Although I have got also 3 extra pawns, so I guess that swings it. I've got 3 extra pawns. And this is also threatening mate with Rook E6. Sometimes, you know, you have to wonder, are you sure you're like not cashing out your attack? So in this case, it wasn't exactly cashing out. Thanks, Mikhail Tal, and hope you check out my Mikhail Tal game annotations. I'm sure you have. I'm going to try and resume that soon with another. Let me know your favourite Tal game that I haven't done, and I'll try and video annotate it on my channel. Okay, thanks for the game. Okay, Hawks layers. Hawk, or was it Hawk Slayers? I'm sorry, I'm not deliberately trying to take the mickey out of your nickname. It sounds better as Hawk Slayers, but on the other hand, who would want to slay hawks? I mean, aren't they beautiful creatures, hawks? I mean, you don't really want to slay them, do you? I mean, I like hawks. Yeah, this is releasing the tension, isn't it, so to speak? which means I have a free hand with f4, f5. Pretty standard. When you release the tension, it's like sometimes you give your opponent a kind of free hand to play with. I've got things like g4 and f5 without having to worry, in fact, about d4 falling apart. I think that's the basis of it, the free hand here concept. g4, queen g3, f5 later, without the center falling apart. So queen g3. Or do I just take that? Maybe I just take that because of knight g5. I'm hitting the rook with the bishop. And then there's like I'm still coming in with f5 surely at some point. So queen g3, f5, maybe e6, just trying to undermine the knight. Oh, what's this? I'll try and defend with rook g2 here. Ah! Ouch! I think I've still got an advantage on this side of the board. Fundamentally. Okay. Okay, is there rook f1? Queen g2. What does it take? Probably keep the queens on here. Queen f3. I guess there's queen e4. Damage the pawns a bit. Rook g1. Hang on, I think I'm being a bit silly here. I should have played queen g2 because if castles, bishop g5, I need to get back to looking at resources here rather than panicking like crazy. Although this h file now is also dangerous after castling rook h8. I guess the issue might be queen f7, but you know, rook h8. I guess I need to play rook g1 actually on castling to answer rook h8 with rook g2. That's the priority. Castling queen f7 is too dangerous, surely rook h8. Alright, I get to play the idea of bishop g5 now on knight f5. If castling bishop g5, I can play bishop g5 here. Now queen e4 is an interesting one. Alright, queen f6 here. Knight g8. Hang on. I just play for maybe do that as a test. Maybe not. Maybe. I don't know. Okay, knight f5, bishop g4. Knight g8 is the sort of test. I have to go back. I wanted to really play rook g4 to h4. But let's just test the waters here. Knight g8 or knight f5. Bishop g4 is knight g3. Alright, is there actually rook g4 to h4? I think I've got some compensation for the pawn. My pawn down, right? In dark square play. If I just took that off and queen f6, before that knight reaches f5, we'll just play bishop g4 just to discourage knight f5. Maybe I'll just take it off. Right, bishop f6. Surely there's some dark square compensation after bishop f6. The king's not castled yet, so I've probably got rook g7 on g takes. I mean, also there's e6 to consider. takes e6, bishop e6, queen d6, f6 or something. Bishop f6. This position here, I've got rook g7. If queen h8, rook f7. So if I go rook g7, as he's got light squares to attack. Yeah, I think he's got light squares to attack. Play rook g3 to try and kick this queen out for a moment. Hold on a sec. Maybe king g2. Oh, the queen's coming in with a vengeance. Ahem. Yeah, queen e2. Alright, I've actually got an asset. I've just realised. As in Bourne Ultimatum, the asset is the h2 pawn. No, the asset in Bourne Ultimatum is actually the assassin's right, but my assassin is the h pawn. That's the asset. I need to bring him in. Harry the h pawn is the asset here. It's guided with the bishop on f6. Harry the h pawn has a great destiny. I hope. Let's fix these pawns. It's good to notice the assets, because then you think, hold on, push that guy. Yeah, I think my h pawn is pretty dangerous there. Thanks, Hawk Slayers. Okay, alright. Okay, Cobra Man. Cobra Man. No. Oh no. No, that is Cobra Man. Sorry. What? Okay. Hi, Cobra Man. I've been counter-gambit. Oh, you're gambiting against me, are you? Coffee house against coffee house, is it? Today? Actually, I did actually go to a coffee shop before this session just to get the caffeine going. Just to wake me up. I think it's nice to have a nice cappuccino from a coffee shop. I mean, you can have coffee at home, but it's not the same. We used to have. Oh, hang on. What do I do here? B5. A coffee machine. We were using it here, but it's too much hassle. It's just so much hassle cleaning it out every week. We just gave up. Got a whisk instead. Knight d5 for c5. If I nudge this knight away, there's almost knight c3 winning the queen. That's not threatening anything in particular, is it? Okay, what's the plan? I don't want to lose my queen. f5? I'm not sure this is entirely the best move, f5. I don't know if you guys have seen Star Trek recently. I'll recommend that one. It's brilliant as well. If any of you seen that, want any films to see on the weekend, Star Trek, that is a good one. Okay, so rook f5, knight c3, c5, knight d7 for c5. Knight d7 to f6. Knight d7 to f6. I think I've got too much pressure on his king side potentially. There's almost a queen sack with queen a2 for rook here and rook a1 possibility, which would be pretty neat. I just need to open up this diagonal. So I'm aiming for queen takes a2 combination for rook a5, rook a1 mating, but I need to open up the diagonal. Don't know if I can pull that off. Let's try and open. Would he be willing to open up this diagonal if I played c5? Aha. Nearly there then. Knight c3. Not quite what I had in mind, but bishop b7, rook b8, away from that queen. Maybe bishop b3, rook b3 at some point. Knight d5, knight b4, a4, queen a4 takes, knight d3. Right, this sort of stuff, knight d4, okay, is looking dangerous. And there's knight c6 winning in exchange. Is knight d5 possible here? Guards against knight c6 for the moment. Introduces knight b4. I think if a4 is played, I have to consider queen a4 seriously. a4, queen a4 takes. Knight d3. Or just you know what? I know this is crazy, but queen takes might actually work. Takes, check. King moves. Can't move to a2. Rook here. Can I pull this off? It's probably not worth the risk. Easier just to play for queen a4. Well, just knight a2 takes queen a4, king here. Rook a5. Probably that's easier to play knight a2 for the check, and rook a5. Also bishop a3, I can just take, and rook a5 is mate. So I'm threatening queen a4. On king takes, check. Bishop a3, I think I just take, because this form pawn is mating. On king b1, maybe I just take on d4, just to dismantle for bishop b3. Or there's actually rook a5 as well. Rook a5 looks crushing without any problem. What does white play after rook a5? I suppose there's bishop b2. Well, there's queen a2 there. Even bishop b2 doesn't defend. I think rook a5. Bishop b2, queen a2. Okay. Yeah, I think it's too difficult to defend that. Okay, thanks for the game, Cobra Man. Discover chess. Oh, there's an IM. He's going to murder me on 3-minute chess. Whoa! Okay. Try and play solid. I'll play it on the system. That chicken. This is the gambit line. Of course, it's been heavily analysed recently. Can I get to castle without bishop b4? Bit slow, it's only a 3-minute game. Bishop d3, queen h5. I think I've got the sort of position I like. Bishop h6. This is more than I like. I think it's juicy almost. Bishop h6 looks pretty juicy. I'm hoping the IM's got a hangover or something from the night before. Let's hope. Yeah. Okay, f4, rook f3. Please have a hangover from the night before. Give me a chance. Rook f3 to g3. I need a chance. Give me a chance. I don't want bishop f8 in a hurry without getting another pawn first. The knight's holding the rook. I want to play rook h3. Spectator piece. Spectator piece. Spectator piece. Spectator piece. Alert! Spectator pieces. Alert! Sorry, just kidding. Just kidding around. I'm sure he's got great defensive resources here. He's got queen b2 for bishop f2. Is he conspiring on my f2? Can I just win this bishop for a laugh? Is he conspiring for queen e7? Let's get the material back. Nice knight on d4. Rook f7, this looks pretty crushing to me. I mean, I'm only a CM. I mean, I don't really know, but this looks like mates. I mean, I'm not 100% sure. So, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. Oh, man. Thanks for giving me a chance. Now, any other IMs or GMs, especially if you've been to a late night party, this is a good stream to boost my credibility. Come here, let me crush you, and I get a credibility boost because I'm only a CM. Okay. Thanks for the game. Now, you have to keep that London system gambit top secret. Okay? Top secret! Shush! That London system. It was a product of my research. I've been researching it over the last few months. Just kidding. I'm trying to undermine. I don't know why I'm trying to undermine this diagonal. I think I just hallucinated my bishop was over here earlier. Let's get back and look at this actual game position, not the one in my imagination. The bishop's actually here, not here. Nevertheless, this might be useful if the bishop ever appeared on the diagonal. Oh, am I going to go into a Greek gift at this rate? There's almost bishop h7. Almost. I think I'm hoping I've got some resources here. Like bishop takes g5. I could be getting mated. Oh there, this could be mate time. Bishop h6. Start calculating like crazy now. Bishop h7. King takes. Knight g5. Bishop takes. Queen h5. Bishop h6. Takes. Knight h5. There's no knight. That position. Yes, he's obviously checking out the Greek gift. I've got to do something about this. I don't know about this. Is it too many holes on the dark squares? I'm scared about bishop h7. Also, if I take this off, I'm loosening my dark squares again. Take bishop f8 g7. I'm not concerned about this pawn. I'd rather have my king than this pawn. I don't want to weaken the dark squares. Bishop f8 g7. Try and keep the dark squares tight. Bishop f8 g7. Knight g5 h6. Hang on, I'm not entirely convinced about this king safety. Bishop g5, knight g5, h6, knight f3. Am I really buying that my king survives that? Myself? There's rook a4 here. No, there isn't. There's no knight d4. He seems to have a free hand on my king, basically. I'm not sure I like this position. Knight g5, knight takes e5, queen h7, king f8. If I just take out his center, that could have more going for it. Oh, crikey. I guess I play this. I don't like this. Am I getting hacked? Rook d7 for queen d8. Can I try and get the queens off? I can't use d4. It's going to go back to d4. This is really annoying. It's got a grip on d4 and e5. Rook d7 for queen d8 is about the best I can find at the moment if I'm trying to defend this position. Knight e4. Oh my god. Oh my god. I didn't expect that. Bishop g6. I've got options. I don't have to take that. I can play king. When I say I don't have to take it. Isn't there rook h8 here? Bishop g6, king g6, queen h5. Right, bishop g6, king g8. There's no queen f4 check. So I'll try rook h8 for a laugh. Bishop g6, king g8. Here, this position. Knight h5, rook h6. I once got inspired to be a better defensive player. There was some comments by of a game of Nigel Short where he kind of made his opponent's attack look like nothing. I think there is a certain art to defense if you can do that, if you can make your opponent's attack evaporate. Knight d4 here is not with tempo. Knight e5 is with tempo. Hit on the queen and then rook h6. Otherwise there's queen e6 and it's still more hassle. So I'll get this queen involved to defend e6 for rook h6. Right, queen d4. Take the queens off gladly, please. Let me take the queens off. Okay, e5, knight f4. Take this off. Yeah. Am I worried? Am I worried? Should I be worried? Okay, yeah, I was worried. I was worried during the game. I admit, I thought the attack was probably winning. Far away from hell. 3-minute game. Bring it on. 2195. Bring it on. Oh, he's disconnected. 28 seconds to abort. Oh no! Oh, I've just played d3 for God's sake. Ah, no! That was a terrible pre-move. Okay, have to play a King's Indian attack here. I have played this epoxy thing before anyway. This kind of thing is not entirely terrible. Queen h4, knight g5. Tempted. Bishop c4. Really? Nab the pawn, huh? Nab the pawn. Have I not got any compensation? I guess not. Ouch. No compensation. I'll go with the h pawn. If in doubt, use the h pawn. h5 coming up. Actually, I have got I think I've got nice control on the file. a4 for bishop b5 springs to mind as a ridiculous thought. Actually, it might be useful to fix against b5 anyway. a4. He wouldn't take, because I think bishop f7, queen, rook d7. There's rook d7 here, queen g5, bishop f7 is mate. Isn't it? Bishop f7, I think I've got compensation now. Bishop f7 is mate. Rook e7, rook d8. I'm not losing my queen even if I miscalculated it. It's not losing the queen. And just win the exchange. And also the bishop after. Rook f7. Okay. Thanks for the game. Thanks for the game. Okay, next. DXB chess 1400. This could be a GM as disguised as a 1400. He's just come specifically. He's flown in from Russia just to play today. No, he's not flown in from anywhere. It's the internet. I've just realised we're playing on the internet. Anyone can play from anywhere. No travelling. Still putting in the skies. It's from a Super GM tournament on a day off. Ah, I could have taken the bishop. Oh no! All right, see, I let him off. I'm very generous. I purposely just let him off. You may wonder why I didn't just take the bishop, and yes, that was because I'm so nice. I let him off. I thought you want to see a bit of meat on the games, yeah? You want to see a bit of meat, don't you? Let him off. Stop playing this game like a bullet game. Note to self. Note to self. Stop playing like bullet chess. Get out of bullet chess. Get out of 3-minute chess. It's a 5-minute game. Five-minute game. Rook e5, rook h5. Now I'm getting attacked. This is what happens when you let someone off a bishop. They start attacking you. I mean, where's the generosity in that? C6 for CD. Try and break into E3. Alright, let's keep next. I'm tempted. He's tempting me, but I'll keep it for a moment instead of sacking the exchange on this occasion. There's rook e2 here. There's rook e2. Because takes king f3, that we rook e3. Now here I'm clearly getting in big serious trouble. No! I'm getting in big trouble. Bishop g4. f5. I haven't got time to play d takes. There's rook I'm faced with rook g1. I'm basically getting completely stuffed. Bishop g4 h5. There's f5. There's always f5. I want to bail out here. Rook and bishop and queen. I'll play like... Oh, he's got queen h7. He just wins with queen h7. I just realised I can't bail out here. That's queen h7 winning. Oh, he didn't do it. Okay, I'm protecting this for a moment. He had queen h7 winning. He just let me protect h7 there. I've got rook and bishop for queen now. I'm still in the game, barely. Barely alive. Staying alive. Staying alive. Bishop c6, rook e2. Mad Magazine did a take on Staying Alive called Barely Alive. It was unbelievable. I was a fan of Mad Magazine comic for many years. And they had, as one of their editions, a take on the Bee Gees, you know, Staying Alive. Barely Alive. It was quite funny, the lyrics. I thought it was funny at the time anyway. So rook e2, king f1. I take, then rook e1 check. So I'm still in this game. Maybe. Rook b2. Hang on, hang on, hang on. What about rook f3? Rook f3. Staying alive. Or am I? Ooh. Ooh, what do we have here? What do we have here? We have a discovered check coming. We have a discovered check winning the queen. Yeah, this is why in chess you should try and find the strongest moves. There was one that just put me away here. There was just queen at h7. I noticed that there was queen h7. If we just go back, this was definitely forcing mate. Just queen takes h7. Bang. Is the engine saying that? Because that's the one I expected. Queen takes h7. It's just mating. Terminated. I could have been terminated. So I played this cheeky, just expecting Amiga to resign. But this gave my protection of h7. So yeah, very lucky let off there. Well played. How's the screen? I haven't messed up the screen, have I? The screen's still okay. Tell me on chat. Have I messed up the screen? Hang on, hang on, hang on. It should be okay, yeah. Is the screen okay? Is the screen perfectly okay? It seems okay on my preview actually. I'm just because I switched the analysis board, yeah. Pre-move CD. No, he's not going to play d4. I think that's just wishful thinking on my part. Okay, maybe knight e5. I'm not entirely sure. This is unusual-ish. Okay, I'll try and close up things with e5 just to keep my king happier. As knight takes d5. Is that on the cards or not? If it is, it nabs a pawn rather cheekily, but there's no way I want to do that. Actually, he just plays knight takes. If I take this, he's just winning. It's just a way of instantly losing. To give him the d5 square position, just to win a pawn but lose the whole position. Apart from that, it's fine. Okay. Try and play for b4, knight takes e4. Or just knight takes e4. I suppose that knight's lost after h4, but I mean, I could just I'll do it anyway. I think queen g4, hg, bishop g5, f. I think that's an advantage on queen g4 anyway. So I wasn't necessarily winning a piece, but it seems to be quite good here. If white has to play f4 and get that e file as well, my pieces are pretty active. After takes, there's a nasty pin. Rook e8. It looks pretty nasty. This bishop all of a sudden. Previously it was a bit asleep. I don't mind the queens coming off. Alright, are we back to being equal here, or am I getting something? I wonder. Alright, knight f4, rook c1. Sort out my king, or not. I'll play this for... nope. Yeah, I've got to sort out my king, whatever happens. Back row. Alright, so rook c2, rook a8, king h7. I'll play rook c2. It's nice to have a rook on the 7th. It swings around about again, isn't it? Do I want to play the check and g5, lose d6 like that? I mean, maybe. Because I think that might make sense to do this. I'm wondering about the king safety here. Also, g4 is almost, I don't know actually. Oh, there's rook f2. But again, my king's coming into question here after knight f5. Knight f5, it might be scary. I'm playing this in a remarkably dangerous way that I didn't need to. My king of 6. Alright, has he got 96 or something? G5 actually, this actually hits the rook. If it plays knight takes h4. So what about, for the moment, this? So takes, or I've got an H pawn. There's 95 coming in. I think I'd want to take that knight if given the chance. Or G4 here just to stop the dynamics. Try and stop the dynamics. I can't really. Is there no way? I'll play this for f3. Knight takes f3. If knight e5, yeah, that is dangerous. Maybe f3. So f2. I just wanted to discourage knight e5. Oh, it's knight f5. That's going to be winning. Right, crawl out of here. Knight f5, king e8. So there's f2 and rook d5 to try and crawl out. f2 and rook d5 would be good to take that pawn out. I think I have to play rook d6 pretty soon, otherwise I'm going to get mated. Alright, it was getting pretty tense. I must admit, it was getting pretty tense. Alright, hey, has it been, how long has it been? Should we, has it been a couple of hours? Because maybe we should carry on next week. Was it 12:30? Am I imagining this? Sorry, I've been... Okay, I think it's now 2:30. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Comments, questions, likes appreciated on both YouTube channels, Chess24 and the Kingscrusher channel. I hope that was fun and interesting and entertaining and maybe sometimes educational. No, I don't like that word. No. I hope it was fun. Okay, so maybe see you next time. Let's see you next time. And yeah, near misses there. There were near misses. You can get your revenge next week. Some of you, if you want your revenge, there's always next time. Okay, so thanks for coming. And maybe see you next week. Cheers then.